The rise of vertical content and microdramas reflect a fundamental shift in how audiences are consuming media. These stories are increasingly created in the 9:16 aspect ratio, tailored to mobile viewing, and many of these productions do not fit the needed requirements to apply for state tax credits. I introduced this legislation to not only create new financial incentives to help keep lower budget production in Los Angeles, but to let this emerging industry know that Hollywood and Los Angeles welcomes you. Now, a lot of us, we get our inspiration for legislation from a variety of different sources. Sometimes it's from the news, sometimes it's from a constituent, a colleague, another city, lots of different ways. And sometimes it's even from family members. And in this case, I have a family member who's in the production business, and I just got tired every Thanksgiving and all these different meals of hearing how the industry is leaving Los Angeles and all these different things that we could do about it. And I said, yeah, well, let's put our heads together and figure out a way to do something about it. And so my brother, who's in that industry, was talking about the micro industry and how we are really having our lunch handed to us by other countries and other states. And this is a burgeoning part of the entertainment industry. It's a $15 billion market by 2028, and how we really need as a city to make sure that we do everything we can to maintain this industry here in Los Angeles where it should be, because it's also a feeder to other things, to television and to movies. The market is, as I said, $15 billion by 2028. In the past few months, there are about 30 to 40 vertical short productions each month in Los Angeles. That's per Rolling Stone. And each episode is usually 1 to 2 minutes, with a series lasting 20 to 100 episodes. I'm sure you've all seen them on your phone. It's a lot of production that we don't think about, a lot of jobs and serious potential for growth. With budgets that are typically under $200,000, microdrama productions often fall below the threshold to qualify for our California tax credits. And the creators are simply relocating to other cities. I asked my brother, why are you always filming in other states and other countries? And this is the reason. A recent survey showed 78% of local independent producers now shoot these projects outside of Los Angeles, resulting in significant loss of jobs and revenue. This is a problem that we need to fix. So what are we voting on today? We're here to help permitting and financially assisting this type of production. We need to cut red tape, create new paths for permitting, and offer assistance, because these are more smaller and nimble productions. And the goal of the motion is to help create opportunities to assist vertical content creators by establishing a grant program that provides upfront funding to incentivize local production. And targeted support for micro-production dramas is not only going to nurture a new generation of creative talent, but it's also going to help future-proof us in Los Angeles to be that center of global entertainment that we have been and that we need to be in the future. Since I introduced this motion, we've heard from many emerging filmmakers who voiced how microdramas have given them opportunities that they wouldn't have had with traditional productions, from students to seasoned professionals. This type of content is being made, and we need to step up to the plate. The financial incentive will help create opportunities to assist vertical content creators by establishing a grant program that provides incentives. The targeted support to microdrama production will not only nurture a new generation of creative talent, but it will help, again, future-proof. We owe it to the filmmakers of the 21st century to bring these productions out of the shadow and boost opportunity. And this motion, while it gets the ball rolling to do the analysis that we need to see what are the incentives, how can we cut the red tape, specifically for this new form of production that is just growing gangbusters that we need to get a hold of. So for that, I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blumenfield. So item 1 is before us. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All items in general public comment.
Okay, good morning. You have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general. Go ahead.
So 20 is related to accepting grants for open and slow streets. Sounds like a good idea. I assume this is like cyclovia and such. Those events are fairly well put on and are okay for the community, I guess. Item 21 is related to securing the permits for the New Year's Eve celebration at Grand Park on December 31st, 2025. So a full month later, so I guess they didn't secure the permits for that event. Wow. Okay. So let's see. We've got a number of lawsuits, more money to blow through because of your incompetent leadership, not getting people housing and services, all kinds of fun stuff that you've got lawsuits over because, again, the city is not repairing the sidewalks. Its police department is shooting and killing people left and right. So you've got all these different lawsuits that are going to blow through the city's budget and money just because you won't actually do your jobs and fix the streets, hold the LAPD accountable, all that stuff. And they should really defund that department. It's draining the city's resources and causing lots of violence. Let's go to general public comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute.
So Tracy, what's going on with your former communications deputy? He's writing all kinds of really messed up shit about the community and things like that. That's who Tracy Park employs on her staff. Is these far right weirdos who write all these lies about people who go to police commission to hold them accountable because they don't hold the LAPD accountable. And then these weirdos that she used to employ go and write all these blatant lies and all this nonsense. One of the most disgusting articles I've seen recently. Basically trying to be an agitator at the meeting. So that's who Tracy Park employs. Fire Jim McDonnell. LAPD still aiding and abetting in ICE kidnappings. Defund the police. Yeah.
My name is Paloma Bustos with the Sunita Jain Anti-Trafficking Initiative at Loyola Law School. As the city prepares to host the World Cup and the Olympic Games, transparency and prevention matter. FIFA and LA28 were required to submit human rights plans by December 31st, but those plans have not been released publicly. Without seeing them, the community has no way of knowing how labor trafficking risks tied to these events will be addressed. The World Cup is just 6 months away, which limits the time to put prevention measures in place, especially approaches focused on worker safety and access to services before harm occurs. Our report, which you all have received in your offices, calls on FIFA and LA28 to each set aside about $3 million from their own budgets for prevention. Compared to the billions these games generate, this is a small investment, but without funding, a plan on paper doesn't protect anyone. So far, 38 organizations across the city, county, and state, groups that see trafficking firsthand, have signed on in support. We urge the city to push for transparency and ensure these organizing bodies contribute meaningfully to prevention of human trafficking. Thank you.
Okay, my name is George Bocanegra. I'm with the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, which represents over 45,000 hardworking carpenters across Southern California. While we respect the city's interest in seeking clarity and action that undermines the intent of AB 2011, mainly as it relates to the state-defined scope of commercial corridors, risk undermining both the creation of more housing units and good-paying construction jobs. To meet this moment, Los Angeles needs more housing built faster, not new barriers of uncertainty. The growth must be paired with strong labor standards, including a residential construction worker minimum wage, to protect workers and ensure the industry can recruit and retain the workforce necessary to build the housing Angelenos desperately needs. As sponsors of AB 2011, our intent was clear: to reduce entitlement barriers, strain labor standards, and maximize underutilized land by transforming it into housing. We respectfully ask the city engage with us on matters related to AB 2011. Thank you for your time.
My name is Robert Dickerson. This is relating to the proposed housing development on the Woodland Hills Country Club. My family and I have lived there adjacent to the club for 20 plus years. One of my daughters has recently moved into a house there as well. The area is very densely populated. The streets south of the club we refer to as the spaghetti streets. It's an apt description. The streets are windy, they're very narrow. Because of the cars parked on the streets, it's usually one-way traffic. Recently, in the Palisades fire, we got an evacuation notice. We didn't ultimately have to evacuate, but my family packed up and moved out. So the threat of an evacuation and the potential disaster there is not hypothetical. It is real.
My name is Sarah Letts. I'm Executive Director of Hollywood Community Housing. Please deny the request to spend $760,000 to pay Nossaman to fight the creation of affordable housing at Venice Dell. I also want to correct the record because project opponents in Nossaman's most recent brief are making false claims that there is fraud associated with the $3 million appraisal for Lot 731 and then subsequent appraisers over $25 million. There is no fraud. A city staff member commissioned the first appraisal for the city-owned parcel when Lot 731 was zoned for open space, and the low value reflects the open space zoning. The subsequent appraisals were commissioned after this council approved rezoning Lot 731 so it could accommodate affordable housing plus parking and retail. Please don't waste more city funds on expensive lawyers and instead get behind the Venice Dell project, which was supported by this council with multiple votes between 2016 and 2022.
Next
Thank you.
speaker.
Yes, sir.
So item 10 is not open for public comment, but you can speak to it during general. So you have 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to go through this. Hi, my name is Sheree Bell, and I am a filmmaker representing District 65. I want to start by thanking you for voting yes on this bill. I especially want to thank Mr. Gibson and thank Mr. Bloomingfield for laying out an initiative so clearly and awesomely that you said this morning. I completely agree with your vision that you presented, and I appreciate the leadership that brought this forward. Now that it has passed, the next step is making sure it has the resources needed to truly succeed. This initiative has the power to transform lives, strengthen our creative economy, and keep talent here in Los Angeles, but only if it's funded at the level that matches its potential. As a filmmaker developing microdramas and virtual cinemas, and someone committed to hiring work-able special needs adults, I know just firsthand the impact this support can have. And with proper funding, it can open doors for people who have never had a real chance to participate in this industry. Thank you all for this initiative, and I look forward to being a creator. Thank you. For you.
Hi, my name is Allison Riley. I'm co-executive director of Venice Community Housing. I'm here again asking the City Council to live up to your commitments. The city asked for the Venice Dell community site to be built into affordable housing in 2016. The co-developers won the right to do that, and the city approved its entitlements in 2021 and the disposition and development agreement in 2022. The city defended its actions in court in 2023 and 4. And then the new city council member reps, Tracy Park, and our city attorney have schemed and stalled and delayed and made up the theory that the Board of Transportation Commission has the power to overturn this city council's decisions. They do not. And now the city council is being asked to spend nearly another $750,000 to fight and obstruct the affordable housing it asked us to build and is under contract with us to build. The co-developers have continued to do everything the city has asked us to do, including spending millions of dollars to get the entitlements approved, and are only seeking legal remedies because the city is not holding up its end of its obligations. If the city continues to waste its public resources to stop affordable housing, then I'm afraid the city deserves what the Housing Accountability Unit will do, which is to take away the pro-housing designation. But let's be clear, this is not what the people of Los Angeles deserve. We need more affordable housing all over the city. So we are asking you today to stop wasting public resources and tell the city attorney and Tracy Park that you won't continue to believe their lies, that you care about affordable housing, and that you will make sure that this deal gets built. Thank you very much.
21 and 22 I see relates a lot to finances, and my biggest thing here is get Scientology's money, whether that's through hiding front groups like the Drug-Free World, any kind of programs like this, any kind of volunteer checks you're getting from Author Services or Galaxy Press, or any other sort of financial checks coming from Scientology is inhumane. It is inhumane. It's a child trafficking cult, so please be aware while you're approving finances and getting more money for the homeless structures and stuff, to please make sure that that is not coming from the cult of Scientology's pockets. Okay, and then I'll move on to general public comment.
Okay, 1 minute.
I'm going to talk about Scientology's safe pointing with the city. Safe pointing is a tactic used by the Church of Scientology to present itself as a trusted partner to authorities and community organizations while concealing its true purpose: recruitment, influence, and reputation management. Scientology achieves this through front groups that appear to be secular charities, drug education programs, human rights initiatives, or mental health alternatives, because Scientology doesn't agree or believe, so to speak, in psychiatric mental health care. Scientology is a recognized cult, or as a religion, but high-controlled group in multiple countries. I hope y'all are listening still. I know there's a lot of people talking, but you should be listening to the public comment. Scientology is recognized as a cult or a high-controlled group in multiple countries, and former members have documented extensive harm, including coercive control. Next time, don't fucking talk while I'm trying to speak.
Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I do want to applaud Mr. Lee, even though he still owes me an apology, Mr. President. He was listening more often than anyone else. So kudos to you, Mr. Lee, but you still owe me an apology. But anyway, for the one about the New Year's, I'm glad that you're putting this stuff on the record for New Year's events, but I want to know why you didn't put it on the record so the public could have analyzed it and voted on it or discussed it for when Scientology got their shrine, a New Year's Eve event or New Year's event, okay, where they shut down all 4 streets and sidewalks illegally, by the way, because you're not allowed to prevent pedestrians from the sidewalks. But Mr. Curran's area, colluded with street services and LAPD to make it where they did do that. And it's illegal, and the city attorney should have intervened. But because this stuff doesn't come before you guys, you don't discuss it. And I bet Smoke and Scan would agree with me that everything should be transparent and that you shouldn't be shutting down 4 streets with a USC game going on and Christmas, and that having Scientologists sit there and check the IDs of students to see if they belong there or not. That's illegal, and you're doing this. And it's because at least Mr. Lee is trying to make it a little bit more transparent and putting this stuff on the record. But Mr. Lee, if you're listening, I would almost be willing to waive the apology. I will not. If you had put the next year's Shrine event on the record, because it's ridiculous. You guys are breaking the law. You're going to be sued. And so that one with the lawyer where you have to give them more money, of course you have to give them more money. You have lawsuits up the wazoo coming. And you know what? And and so you need to prepare. So stop allowing things that are illegal, okay? And then the one with the street slowing. I'm all for that. But the problem is you can also help traffic, because we've been telling you that L. Ron Hubbard is a public street, but Scientology keeps acting as if it is not. And so all the traffic is forced onto other streets, which makes it more dangerous for the parents who have kids maybe playing, riding their bikes.
I don't think this is on the agenda, but
it is on the agenda. No, it's on the agenda.
You're
the
welcome to speak to
slowing.
it during general if you'd
Number
like.
21.
You need to speak to the actual item.
Okay,
though,
the
not
street
generally.
slowing. Okay, I need you to find streets, okay, to help slow traffic for other streets by making sure all public streets have access, right? If you're trying to slow traffic down for one street, Okay, and the other street's public, but people are trying to provide, slave labor is trying to prevent people from driving it. That adds more traffic right to their surrounding streets. So it is relevant, sir. I disagree with you, and I bet Smoke and Scan will agree with me. Okay, you can have slowing down if you make sure all public streets are accessible.
General public comment.
Okay, now public comment. We went to Burbank yesterday. Oh, what a different world. They actually listen to you. Can you imagine that, as city council that actually not only listens, but they get to respond to all the speakers, and every last one of them thanked us for going and applauded Laura for being brave to come tell her story, and for us being willing to basically risk our safety, our lives, our reputations, because they're trying to destroy us, to be able to come forward. Okay, but and you know what? And one of the council people told us, because I said, "Wow, it's so different in LA." No offense to LA, but she said that they came here, okay, and spoke before you guys, and nobody was listening. And this is a city council person of a surrounding city came here, and they were all on their phones. They're all talking. I should have told her how Mr. Lee is really trying. He is. He still owes me an apology, though, Mr. President and Mr. Attorney and Mr. Lee, because you were really rude to me before, but I applaud you for trying to listen.
Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker.
Good morning, council members. My name is Valerie Berkeley, Senior Public Policy Manager, commenting on behalf of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce. I'll be speaking on item 9. The Chamber opposes advancing a cashless retail ban framework. Many restaurants and retailers adopted cashless systems in response to Department of Public Health guidance during COVID. Forcing them to reverse course would undermine those investments. Cashless systems also help reduce theft, improve efficiency, and address public safety concerns, especially in high crime or high volume settings. While we share the Council's commitment to equity and inclusion, a one-size-fits-all mandate fails to reflect the realities facing businesses. There are more effective ways to support underbanked communities without restricting business models such as EBT. We urge the Council to work collaboratively with the business community on solutions that promote inclusion without compromising public safety or economic vitality. Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Linda Lux. I work with Venice Community Housing. I've lived and worked in the Venice community since 1970. And I'm here to remind you that Venice and the city need affordable housing. The city has already spent $620,000 to hire lawyers to fight the Venice Dell project that's been approved twice by this city council. And now you're asking to spend another $760,000 to fight this. The optics are horrible. Just think about, it's just inconsiderate, it's just unconscionable to try to fight this project that's approved by everybody. Please do not waste more money on expensive outside lawyers to fight against affordable housing. You also risk losing the pro-housing designation by the state and would lose many millions of dollars, and I know that the council does not want to risk that, so be very careful in considering this vote. Vote against, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, council members. My name is Edgar Recinos, and I used to work at Wingstop, but earlier this month I was terminated. So before that, we filed a complaint at Kalosha because we were exposed to burn hazards and forced to work being sick with COVID. And not only that, one time one of the managers came to work being under influence of alcohol and carrying out a gun. So my employer didn't focus on fix the problems, and instead of that, they were against us with regulations. So I believe I was terminated because exercising my rights and for being a member of the workers' union. And I'm here one more time to ask you all to support the fast food fake work ordinance. Thank you so much.
My name is Alejandra. I am a member of the Fast Food Workers Union, and I work for Taco Bell in District 8. We are sick of the abuse at work, and we need tools to protect ourselves and each other. I work at Taco Bell and filed a complaint form with Kalosha after I was chased behind the counter by a man who was sexually harassing my coworkers. Violence like this occurs constant since we never got training on how to protect ourselves. So in a moment, I grabbed a pizza cutter to defend myself. We should have had a working panic button, a prevention plan, but instead, when I spoke about what happened, they cut my hours off and moved me to another store. Well, that's not gonna silence me. Fast food workers need to know their rights and training of how to, so we can enforce all the laws together on how to protect ourselves, not instead keeping us silent and moving. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm here to talk to you about the need to pass the Fast Food Fair Work Ordinance. I am a barista and strike captain from a Starbucks in Los Angeles, specifically by Miracle Mile. Starbucks likes to tout that it offers the best job in retail, but though the siren may sing a song of compassion and care, like other fast food giants, Starbucks would rather create disorder and destruction in the lives of its workers if it means the stockholders see growth. As many of my coworkers learned, this September you can clock out on Wednesday with schedules for the next 2 weeks, only to clock in on Thursday and find your stores closing permanently that Saturday, with no timeline on when or if the company will ask you to return to work. The reality that many of us face is an unstable, understaffed workplace where being scheduled less than 20 hours per week risks losing your health insurance and other essential benefits despite being required to have 150% availability. It is for these reasons and more that I urge you to stand with 50,000 fast food workers striving to feed and support our families and communities through our work. Hold these companies to account and ensure the Fast Food Fair Work Ordinance passes without further delay. Thank you.
Fine. Hi. My name is Judy Branfman. I'm here to ask you to vote against allocating more money to fight the Venice Del Community Affordable Housing Project. And I want to give you a little context, even though a lot of people aren't listening. Too bad. 2 years ago, I and about 20 other Venice community members did a research and arts project where we took photos of all the buildings, almost 300 that have been taken off the market in Venice alone using the Ellis Act. We saw over almost 1,400 units that have been taken off the market that way, and that did not include thousands removed by Airbnb and hundreds removed by landlord harassment of tenants. And this is just in Venice. You probably know across the city, over 30,000 units have been lost to Ellis alone.
General public comment?
Thanks. So, by continuing this fight for some crazy reason, you're not only creating homelessness, but spending our incredible, precious tax money to prevent solving the problem. The solution is affordable housing, construction, and even preventing evictions and homelessness by ULA and other measures. So live up to your commitments. And, I haven't talked here for quite a while, but it's really, really rude to have so many people chattering in the background and most of our council people not listening. It's sad. Thank you for voting against 22.
Good morning to my favorite 15 people.
Good morning. All items in general public comment?
Morning, Grote. For the record, I signed up as Drew Timmy, and I would like to speak on 21, 22, 23 in general comment.
Okay, so you have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general. Go ahead.
First, I just want to ask, I came in late, but did John Lee recuse himself from item 22? I would save him some embarrassment because he does need to recuse himself from item 22. He's been using this law firm for his legal defense efforts, and maybe that stopped. I've heard that he's been getting passed around for non-payment of bills. But he, as of the third quarter report, still owes Nossaman $44,000. So that would seem to be a financial interest requiring recusal, Grote. So let's just take care of that before it comes up for a vote. Speaking of his debts, I ask everybody around the horseshoe to consider chipping in to his campaign account or legal defense accounts. He really needs it. Between those two and the fine that he picked up in December with the Ethics Commission, he is in debt to the tune of $329,000. And that figure is probably going to rise at the end of the week when we find out how much he actually picked up in legal bills in that final fourth quarter. For item 23, it's really remarkable to see how Heidi keeps on coming back for more money for outside counsel. It started as $900,000, and that was disingenuous. We knew that there's no way Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher would be under that amount. And then she got another $5 million from you, and now she's looking for $1.8 million. Some of you have met my dog, Rex. Super cute. I should also highlight he's really good luck. Half of the council candidates that have met him have been elected to office. He knows that he only gets a single treat after he eats his food, and only if he eats it right away, like a good boy. Regardless of what he does, after he eats his food, he comes right in front of me and sits in and stares at me with that sweet face, asking for more. Like clockwork, even if I give him that treat, he's going to come back and ask for more. Every single day, I have to reject these overtures. He knows the rules. It's not his fault. He's a dog. But if I can reject his repeated overtures, I ask you to show the same discretion with Heidi and her manipulative efforts to extract outside counsel from you piece by piece. Item 21, this is a New Year's Eve event at Grand Park, and I just got to say this year is cursed. Do you realize what the next 5 months entail? We're going to have to go through another dumpster fire of a budget, and then after that, you're going to have to navigate the ballot initiative wars between labor and business. At the same time, you're going to have to navigate all of the revenue-generating measures that you're punting down the line, while also figuring out what to do with ULA. Same time, we're going to have a primary happening, and lastly, you're going to have to handle whatever heap of charter reform proposals Karen's commission comes up with. That's all doable, but what's not workable is operating under this absurd setup where two people in this building control and slow walk all of the above. This is why I came here last week and asked you to get engaged with the Charter Reform Commission so you don't get ended up with a hot mess in your plate.
General public comment.
In that same vein, I want to piggyback on yesterday's conversation on ex parte communications. And I think Councilmember Blumenfield was a little bit of a diva with his initial no vote, but he is 100% correct on the lack of experience with this commission. Made worse by the council president poaching the most experienced commissioner we had. That has been made worse by the fact that the staff he and Karen picked are absolutely clueless about this city. It is essential that you and your staff are talking to the commissioners. So to be 100% clear, I don't want to have any perception that you will be criticized for talking to them. In fact, I will come back and criticize you if I don't find out you and your staff are talking to them. So get on it. Lastly, I just want to note one thing about one of the commissioners, the chair, Raymond Mesa Jr. Hands down, one of the most deceitful, dishonest people I have ever encountered in this building, and I don't say that lightly. So be very careful when words come out of his mouth.
Next speaker.
My name is Alan Pick. I'm here to speak on item 22 on general comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute for the item and 1 minute for general. Go ahead.
So the overall question really here, and gets illustrated all the time, is I don't know whether Los Angeles is governable. I used to be a young man, and I used to be idealistic about Los Angeles. I've lived on the canals in Venice for 40 years now. I love Los Angeles. I love Venice. But I take a look at what's going forward, that we're going to be having an Olympics here, that we're going to be having building a convention center, that we were going to have the World Cup here. I don't know if any of those things are actually going to take place and going to take place smoothly. And this, what we're talking about right now, is really a great illustration of the Sisyphean tasks that we have to try to get anything done here. So I have been working on this project now as a volunteer for 7 years, and that's the Venice Dell project. We had great hopes. 7 years ago, I was here, and the City Council unanimously approved using city-owned property, so there was no acquisition cost. And and building affordable houses, and there was no housing. No question that we needed that. But what's happened now, these 7 years later, is virtually nothing. We have done everything right. We have had scores of meetings, community meetings. We've won every single court battle that we've been involved in. And yet we're back here again, and there hasn't been a shovel full of earth turned in those last 7 years. At some point, somebody's got to say, we've got to solve this. We've got to move forward. And it's you that are going to have to do that, and we are counting on you to be able to do it. So please do your job. Please make sure that Los Angeles can get things done.
Speaker,
and
your
is
time has
governable.
expired. Next speaker.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Which
Thank
items
you
would you like to
guys
speak to?
for being here, but you know, you're normally here. I want to really speak on this past week up to now, being involved with some of the empowerment congresses throughout mostly South Central Los Angeles has really given me a deep, more depth on the issues that Los Angeles faces and the attitudes and constructive opinions and methods of cooperation that are affected in the dialogue and discourse, reflecting on my ambition in participation with these congresses, with you all. I hope to build up a resonance in the center that eschews this idea of mutual affirmation in projects that are not centered in a desire for self-aggrandizement, but in a collective progression. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Aroth, and I'm a very long-time resident of Venice. I have made a copy for each of you of Jesse Zwick's excellent LA Times article titled "LA is Sabotaging Itself on Housing." If you could distribute these for me, please. According to Jesse, and I agree with this issue dates back to the late 1960s when anti-growth attitudes became intertwined with progressive politics of the day. A powerful nationwide consensus took root that building fewer homes was better. In moments of crisis, as is our current housing and homeless situation, we need leaders willing to make tough choices. Cities that build housing do so because they declare it a top priority and act accordingly. Cities that hedge and delay quietly sabotage themselves. The fundamental question facing LA today is not whether we know how to build more homes, it's whether we're willing to say yes to them and mean it.
General public comment.
Not spend millions of dollars trying to obstruct them to placate NIMBY constituents. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Susan Millman. I am a 50-year Venice resident and homeowner. Venice needs affordable housing. We all can agree on that. Nearly every day, the electeds and the papers declare that LA must have housing for its 40,000 homeless people. Just yesterday, in the LA Times, there's an op-ed entitled, "LA is sabotaging itself on housing," and it blamed this need for housing on lack of political will. This is why the City Council approved Venice Dell project twice. The Coastal Commission gave it the go-ahead. The state funded it. It cost the city's general fund nothing. Venice Dell is 100% low-income housing that provides 120 units to families and unhoused who otherwise would be on the street. And yet, after a decade in development, you are seeking $760,000 to fight this shovel-ready project, all to satisfy a vocal contingent of NIMBYs who have lost 2 court cases trying to block it. The request is ridiculous, wasteful, and immoral. You must reject it.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
This is kind of a repeat, but because our city council, being the clowns, bankrupt the city, giving $1 billion increase to LAPD, there are absolutely 0 items, as usual, on the agenda in which to really spend anything on. $1 billion budget emergency, incompetent clowns. Tens of thousands homeless, epidemic emergency, incompetent. $275 billion fire damage. Emergency, incompetent clowns. Let me introduce you. As you know, our sleazy council president is Marquise Dawson, CD8, highest unemployment rate in the entire country, over 12.5%, the highest homeless rate, the highest incarceration rate. I also formally protest anything that's outside of what needs to be done. The Attorney General, the FBI, and the IRS currently—
Speaker, your time has expired. Okay, so for members of the public who are here for public comment during this special meeting, the only item open for public comment is the only item on the agenda. That's item number 43. So again, if you're signed up, it's only for item 43. There is no general public comment during the special meeting.
All right, do we have public comment speakers for this item? If you're a public comment speaker on this item, please come forward now. It's good to see you. Happy New Year, Mr. Spindler. I don't think I've seen you in 2026.
So I believe Audit LA, go ahead. You have 1 minute for item 43.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that, you know, when it comes to like the housing crisis, there's a lot of things we can do, and I know this report is trying to find things we can do. Well, you know, Scientology is the biggest landowner in this city, and all their buildings, for the most part, are empty, okay? Why don't you try to, you know, negotiate to buy back their buildings, and you can then use them for housing? Because there's so many empty, vacant buildings. It's just a land grab, so they don't have to actually, you know, because with the 501c3, you know how you have to put the money back to your people? They don't want to do that, so they'd rather just do a land grab. And that would solve a lot of housing issues. You know, you could use the parking lots, you could use the rooms, and I don't know why you don't look into that. They take from the city, they don't give back. Here's their chance to stand up and give back and open up. Even if you don't buy it, just ask them if you could use it. But I wouldn't want you in bed with them like that. But still, it's just a thought, you know, that they should be, you know, since they take and don't give, they should be able to give back. And I'm serious. It's a lot of buildings.
Next speaker.
Before the next speaker begins, I will call all of the names on the special agenda: Andrew Grapener, Audit LA, Laura FM, Toxic Shrimp, Scum, and Stink.
Okay, so this is an item related to LASA funds. Hopefully this money will go towards providing housing and services and things like that, because what we've seen in the past is that a lot of this money is not allocated very well, and people aren't getting the housing that they need. That's why part of why there's so many people out on the streets, is that you aren't putting in the effort to actually have those housing available, have it be reasonable conditions for them and front house people trying to get housing. And that's one of the many reasons why there's so many people out on the street, is that you don't have this housing and services available for unhoused people. But you'll probably just misuse the funds and continue sweeps and criminalizations, since that seems to be what you do.
Next speaker.
Hello, general public, but also this one for the housing. So I'm going to add to what Audit LA just said. Please, if obviously the point is that we don't
we're not interested in Scientology helping the homeless because they don't do that. But if you were to ask Scientology, hey, why don't we use your empty buildings and hotels and parking lots and stuff like that? Guess what they're going to tell you? No. You know why? Because they're just interested in infiltrating the programs that help the homeless. But what they do is once they infiltrate those programs, they're now leading these homeless people into horrible situations because they don't believe in mental health care. They don't believe in actually giving them help. They also don't help the city. They don't get their tax. They don't pay taxes. They don't do anything but use the city up. They use up the fire department, the LAPD for private events. They have the money to do that. But then when you go to ask them to help the city with the homelessness problem because they have billions of dollars, they own a majority, the biggest amount of estates in LA. So please try to do that.
Next speaker.
All right. Well, good morning, money launderers. How you doing today? So let's see here. So you want to launder over $10 million from an unnamed source for $30 million. Now, what do we call this? What does the FBI call this? Overt acts. You don't have the money. So you're going to spend money you don't have and try to launder it to get it back into the general fund, and you falsely claim that it has no fiscal impact. That's fraud. You don't have this money. But anyway, you're just going to keep doing it. But anyway, just to remind you, your colleague, Current Price, is not going to be able to vote on this item. He's across the street at the Criminal Courts building. So if you want to see something fun, go over across the street at the Criminal Courts building on the 3rd floor, and you can see the great work Current Price has been doing, filling his pockets, just like the rest of you. Have a good day.